Inferno. The first ever song released under the band name LORDI was the beginning of a musical journey which would explore dark tones, rhythmical melodies, conquer Europe, create and bring a community together, and eventually come to this moment in time where fans await the mouth-watering prospect of 7 albums covering 7 different genres, all dropping at once on the 26th of November in the fancy wrapping of Lordiversity. But before we delve into that insanely awesome project, we've still got ground to cover here on Monstars of Rock. So join me as I bring you the final parts of our journey into Lordi's history as we look at 2016's Monstereophonic Theaterror versus Demonarchy. You're listening to Season 3 of Monstars of Rock, the LORDI Story, a true metal podcast production. I'm your host, Matthew Kessie, and this is Episode 1, Monstereophonic Theaterror versus Demonarchy. The last time we were all together, we spoke of the gradual evolution of LORDI's sound from the melodic beginnings of Get Heavy to the darkly themed Deadache, and ending lastly with the dynamically heavier Scareforce 1. All that evolution taking place over nearly a 20-year period and covering 8 albums. But I believe that we can truly see LORDI's sound and style graduating towards the LORDI we know today on the album Monstereophonic. And that's why I didn't want to include that album in the previous season. That's why we ended it where we did with Scareforce 1. Because Monstereophonic, it moves the band forward in a new direction. Not because it included 2 drastically different styles as it was a split album, but rather that Mr. LORDI chose to present a new conceptual take on their songwriting, something which leads us to the current musical presentation of the group, which we will see in Lordiversity. Monstereophonic, as I said, was a split album, one side featuring a traditional LORDI-esque album rooted in the Get Heavy and Monsterican Dream days, while the other was a concept album, taking influence from 80s German metal, and was the heaviest we've heard LORDI up until lately. The album, of course, was produced by Nina Laurina, who previously produced Deadache in 2008 and was released on the 16th of September 2016. And obviously that album is a split concept album, one side being more traditional and the other side being a concept. Why did you not decide to go with a full concept album, and just what was your decision behind that?
Because of a few things. The first one being that if we would, and this is exactly what happened. I was right. I thought, because our A&R Janne, he wanted us for years to do a concept album. You guys, you should do your fucking conceptual thing. You should do that. Okay. Well, and I always said that, if you have grown up, or not even grown up, but if you have, dig the band since Get Heavy, and you have, accepted the albums that came after that. So then, you know that if we would all of a sudden release an album that is completely different in a way, that it's only like these long structured songs, and the musical style is pretty far away from, let's say, Would You Love a Monster Man, or anything on Gets Heavy, that would alienate a lot of fans that we have. That would alienate. So we cannot fucking do that. If we do a full album like that, it would be like what happened with Kiss back in '81 with their conceptual album Music from the Elder. Yeah. So the diehard fans, they abandoned them because, okay, this is nothing what I wish for. This is not the the kind of music that I want my band to, create. This is not. So in a way, you have to understand that these people, you should not, deliberately try to alienate your fans and your friends and your bosses in a way.
Yeah.
So that was one reason why we didn't do a full thing, because, and I was right. After the album came out, there was pretty much completely two different sides. There were people who said, yeah, I like the first half of the album. I like those, those songs there, and I like those melodic, hard rock songs. But the rest of the album, what the hell is that's not Lordi? I don't want to hear Lordi like this. And then there were the other people. Finally, this is cool shit. This is awesome, fucking, horror and blah blah blah. And these stories, and they take more time to do this and that. And it's they take their time to paint the picture and this horror world and the story and la la la. But I don't really care about those songs that start the album. And so there you go. I mean, you cannot please everyone, and once again, I am not trying to, and we are not trying to please everyone. We're trying to please ourselves.
Yeah.
Here's the very important thing that I probably told you this, even you already this many times while we've been talking, but I say it again. When it comes to writing the songs, and I'm talking from my own, personal view, I don't give a fuck what the other people think about it. I just write the kind of songs that I feel that are the awesomest kind of songs at that moment when I'm writing them. I mean, it comes out naturally. I'm not thinking about any of the fans. I'm not thinking about the bandmates. I'm not thinking about the label. I'm thinking about myself. I'm doing everything to please myself. And if anyone else likes it, it's a plus.
Monstereophonic's sound is a mixture of two genres, but for many fans and Lordi members, the resonating musicality of Let's Go Slaughter He-Man really stood out as one of the best opening songs on any Lordi record. The opening key segment of that song was composed and created by Hella, something which she is immensely proud of.
My keyboard riff is the carrying thing throughout the song, so it was really, really cool to hear the demo, then what he wrote, and when he sent it to me, like, look what I came up with, that stuff that he sent, and I was like, whoa, like that was quite, like, gave a little bit of goosebumps when I heard it, and it is cool, yeah.
As with all Lordi albums, Monstereophonic featured a cinematic track in the form of SCG-8, One Message Waiting, and fans at this point had become familiar and accustomed to the voice of Ralph Ruiz on these tracks, and this time around, Ralph was no longer Captain Ruiz, but rather Stalker Ruiz.
Once again, I get a call from Mr. Lordi. He's like, dude, I need you on the new album. I was like, all right, so what's the idea? He goes, need you to be a stalker. So here comes the character, Stalker Ruiz.
Yeah.
So, okay, trying to think. This is funny because it's all done over the phone.
Right.
All the recordings back and forth were on my phone. So here I am sitting in my house in El Mirage, Arizona. And they're in the studio, I think, I don't know where they recorded this, but of course somewhere, Finvox.
Yeah.
Right outside of Helsinki.
Just to correct Ralph there, the album was actually recorded in Sonic Pump Studios in Helsinki.
So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think, what could be said that would be really creepy. So, of course, the breathing that you always get.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I bet you never thought you'd hear from me again. Well, you were wrong. It's Ruiz. And the whole object is that I can see them because I'm like, I can see you closing your curtains. And it goes, I see that bat in your hands. That's not going to help you. And then I'm thinking, what can be really said that'd be a little sick and twisted, you know? And I'm right off the back, I'm thinking Lecter, Dr. Lecter from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those beautiful red lips, I want to chew them off of your face. And it's funny because right at the time I say that, in the background, you hear an alarm. That was my fire alarm going off in my house. It just does an automatic check. So you hear it every once. So I did it in my bathroom. I did it in my bathroom to kind of get that, you know, little echoey kind of sound. So, you know, it was back and forth. He's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. He goes, just make it a little more creepy. Laugh here. Okay. Call number 2. Blah, 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 blah. Ha, 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 ha. Send. Call number 3. Yeah, that was good. Make the laugh a little shorter. Call number 4. Blah, blah, blah. Ah. Call number 5. That sounds great. Can you say something else? Excellent. Call number 6. You know, I want to rip off I want to eat your lips off. And he goes, I want to suck the eyeballs right out of your skull. I can hardly wait. And I start making this sound like, you know, I'm basically coming on myself. Yeah. I'm getting so excited over the fact of killing this person. And I go, here I come. Bang. And I send, waiting for, you know, call number 7 to come back. About 5 minutes later, I was like, I haven't heard nothing. He goes, dude, we got it. Perfect. Thank you. So we do that. And, you know, and then he let me hear it a couple of, you know, minutes later or whatever, a day or two later. They added some effects. They made me sound more demonic. And that was it.
Right.
So that's how I got involved with that.
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
I bet you thought you would never hear from me again. You were wrong. It's Ruiz. Oh, you're closing the curtains. I can still see you. Locking your doors and closing your windows won't help you. That bat in your hands, that's useless.
The second half of Monstereophonic, known as Demonarchy, was a concept album based around the story of a witch, a werewolf, Dracula, and a zombie. And while this was the band's first venture into conceptual albums, it wouldn't prove to be the last. The most recognisable thing, however, about this side of the record is that the guitar and the sound of the album in general is entirely unlike Lordi had produced previously. And that, in part, has to do with the fact that Eamon, Lordi's guitarist of nearly 20 years at this stage, didn't play guitar on that side of the album. Instead, it was Mr. Lordi.
Not my favorite album.
Okay. And speaking of the sort of Demonarchy side of the album, was that more complicated for you to play then, because of obviously the speed of things and the tempo?
Some songs, Mr. Lordi played some tracks there.
In the recording of it?
Yeah.
And why was that down to? Was that just that you didn't want to do it?
First there was this, I was really busy with my another life.
Okay.
And once again, I think we had really short time to rehearse. For those songs, I would have needed 3 months time to rehearse and, all those harmonic guitars and, solos and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how many weeks or days we had, but I knew it that, and I said in the beginning when we had those demos on the table that if we have these kind of songs, full album, I need half of the year to practice these. That there are 200 riffs, and so that was the one thing. I didn't have time, and the second thing was that I really didn't like them. It was some of those riffs are
doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, I would have played those, but
Yeah.
I really didn't feel like, and I never thought that a day like that would come that I don't play all the guitars on Lordi album.
Yeah.
But we were running out of the time, and then I was like, okay, so fuck it. So I concentrate on those other songs, and I don't remember. I have to check this list here, but so-called A side, I think I played everything. The concept was to have a different sound for that Demonarchy side, and I was already like, because they wanted to look for metal sound, like a
King Diamond almost.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't. It's just not me. I'm like, I don't even have that sound. I don't know how to play, and the way I hold guitar pick is already the thing that you can't really do that kind of metal, which is really, really fast or something. It's already, I don't know. I know how to play AC/DC. I don't know how to play, fast metal or whatever. And when they were doing the sound with producer, and the producer, I think it was one of his guitars or something. Was it Mr. Lordi's guitar or something? No, I call those like metal access, and I just hate them. I don't like them, and everything was so weird. It wasn't not my kind of songs, not my kind of riffs. Even the sound was like really, really bad. I'm like, I don't even want to play this. The sound is so bad. This is not Lordi. I totally understand if this concept album, but.
Okay, and then how did Tommy take that when you told him?
No, it just happened.
It just happened.
We were already in the studio, and I'm like, I don't have time to practice all this.
Right. Okay.
And maybe he was just relaxed, like, okay, it's okay, I can do something. And he's a nice guy. He was like, is it okay for you? I'm like, yeah, please play. And it didn't take long for him. Like, he was really fast recording those.
The Demonarchy side of Monstereophonic was the first time Mr. Lordi recorded guitars on a Lordi album, but he wasn't credited in the album's booklet, as the group decided not to share this publicly. However, this would not be the last time Mr. Lordi would play guitars on a Lordi album, as in Lordiversity, Mr. Lordi plays rhythm guitar on a vast quantity of them, but more on that when we get to Lordiversity week at the end of November. It probably goes without saying, but Mr. Lordi's perspective and reflection on this is entirely different to that of Eamon's.
Well, it's not Eamon's stuff. It's not something that when I sent out the demos for everybody. Nobody else really had a problem, but Eamon was just not available in a way. He was just not really interested in that stuff, and I know it's not his style of music at all, and it's not his style. It's not his. It's not in the way that he would play guitar style-wise. It's something that he would struggle for so long to get that kind of stuff, actually played on record. It's something that is not in his fucking bones. It's not in his fingers. It's not in his spine. He doesn't have that. It's okay because he's never been into that stuff, like where I am, like fan of Udo and pretty fast stuff, and Priest and Pantera and King Diamond especially, and all that stuff, so I'm into that stuff, and I've played that stuff, but Eamon, he has never played that stuff, and he's never been interested in that. But there's also there are a few occasions, even before, even on the very first album, on Get Heavy, there is the first Cocteau Circle gathering, you hear the guitar that before the riff starts. That's actually me. That's not Eamon. Okay. So it actually started already in the very first album on the Apocalypse, bringing back the bowls, the verses. I'm playing the you know, I'm playing those, and you know, they're here and there. I mean, 99.9% of all the stuff until that point is absolutely all guitars are played by Eamon. But there are, you know, sometimes we have just, you know, made it easier, you know, to do, because I've got that rhythm. I got that fast picking on my right hand, and he doesn't. So, you know, why waste time on that? You know. Yeah. And funnily enough, that like during the 90s, and even when Eamon, you know, joined, and you know, we were doing the demos together and stuff. You know, it's mainly on the demos, even until the Get Heavy days. It was me who was playing, and actually, pretty much like always, it has been that I play the guitars on all the demos. You know, even before the record deal and everything, because that's just the way it is. And but when we go back to the Demonarchy thing, you know, the truth of the matter is that at that time I have no idea what else was going on. Probably something, but the truth of the matter is that the rest of us, the rest of the band, you know, we were kind of pissed, to be honest, because I mean, he's a big hockey fan, and that was the time they were like his team was like in a really big, you know, winning stream, and I think they've, you know, actually won the Finnish Cup or something that spring. But we could definitely see from on every turn that when he wasn't available, there was a game on the previous night or something like that, or that night. So you know, he chose being an hockey fan over the recordings of the album. Okay. But then again, I mean, it was something that you know, it would have taken him quite a long time to
nail down everything.
You know, get nailed down. And for me, I mean, I already wrote all that stuff, so you know, for me, it's pretty fast, and I'm really comfortable in playing that kind of stuff. It's not a problem for me at all.
Yeah. But why wait so long to like kind of reveal it to fans? Why didn't you just write it in the booklet that you had played guitars on that side at that time?
Well, I'm a Kiss fan. That's the Kiss fans would understand. All the Kiss fans now would say, right. Because I mean, for a Kiss fan, it's something like all the Kiss fans know that Gene Simmons doesn't play bass on every song. There are albums that there's Eric Carr playing the bass on most of the songs. There's Bruce Kulick playing, or Paul Stanley playing the bass on most of the songs. There are albums where Peter Criss doesn't even play at all. There are albums that Ace Frehley doesn't play. You know, it's Paul Stanley. That's on every Kiss album, but that's the thing, because for Kiss fans it's not that big of a deal. You know, it matters what is the group's name and what is the group that when the album comes out, like under what name and under what group, and it's irrelevant who actually plays on what song. Yeah. And I remember when first hearing about that, you know, it was a bit of a shock, because I'm a Gene Simmons man myself, so it was a bit of a shock to hear that what Gene doesn't play on this and that song, or what the hell. But then after a few years, or I don't know, maybe weeks or months, you know, you get used to it, and it's not that big of a deal. But while we didn't say that, it was actually just, you know, it was irrelevant in a way. But there was a thing that before we released that album, before we did, there was a lot of talk in the band where I kind of like had to promise that we won't be playing any of these songs live. And I guess that request mainly came from Eamon, Not really, but kinda. You know, it was so I made a promise that we won't. But of course, I broke that promise because we have played Demonarchy and something else. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not that Eamon wouldn't learn those songs if he wants to, and has enough time to practice them. It's just like that. He's not enjoying those, and I know it.
It's comfort zone.
Yeah. So it's like so it's kind of like that, and for everyone who's listening to now know that, because this came to me as a surprise now when Matthew told me that Eamon told this. So because and in a way this has always been something that I've been just like, well, when Eamon wants to say it, then I can talk about it. But from a kind of like respect point of view, I haven't said anything, and neither has anybody else in the band. But I have to point out that Ox did not like it. Ox was thinking that we should tell who's playing the guitars on the Demonarchy side. He was kind of like pissed off for me. I couldn't understand that why I wasn't that much pissed off. He thought that that the credit didn't go where it belongs to, and I really respect that. Feeling that he had.
Cool.
And of course, but then again, it's irrelevant in a way. It doesn't really matter.
Eamon's feelings on the album were also very strong, and he felt as if the record should have been a Mr. Lordi project and not a band effort.
It wasn't a happy time for me.
Right.
Personal life, and it wasn't so well. There were good times too, of course, but there were a lot of difficulties, and the whole atmosphere in the band wasn't like, I don't know, maybe that was my point when I was getting really tired and like, god damn it, I need a break or something, maybe. And when I heard the demos, it was like, oh my god, I fell asleep like 3 times during the one song. I'm like, I don't know. It's like 7-8 minutes. What is this shit? Where is the chorus? I don't know. And there was like, when I said that I love when there are riff after riff, well, I don't mean like having like 16 riffs in one song. That's too much.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, and I remember I told Mr. Lordi and to everybody else, like, but I was speaking to Mr. Lordi, that it seems like this album is more like your solo album. So why don't you do a solo album? And we have a break, and as a band, and you release a solo album, and then we move on after that. And he really didn't like my comments. He was like, what? I can do really, different kind of songs. I'm like, yeah, you can, but these songs doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. So it was, I don't know. I still don't know what it is. There are a couple of songs that I really don't get it. It's like totally like not my kind of music at all.
Eamon actually never told me personally, and not to this day he hasn't said that, but he told it to either Mana or Ox or Hella that it's my solo project, it's my solo album, which pissed off a bit the other guys. And for me, it was more like well, yeah, like you said, I mean, it's every Lordi album is kind of my solo album in a way. It's like, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I would make a solo album, I would still ask, guys to play on it, so that what would be different on a Mr. Lordi solo album and a Lordi solo album? Nothing. It would be the same guys, the same people playing. Well, maybe not all the rhythm guitars then on the faster stuff, but basically, yeah, that would be pretty much the case, So it doesn't. But then Mana said the fucking funniest thing at that point when he was, when Eamon, said this infamous solo that this should be Mr. Lordi's solo album. He said, well, it doesn't make it a solo album. If one member out of 5 members isn't part of it, if the rest of them are full on there. So it doesn't really make it anybody's solo album if one is just like one chooses not to be part of it.
Yes.
So it doesn't make it a solo album then, but then again, that's somehow maybe how Amen felt like, or something that nobody liked it and nobody was digging the style and nobody wanted to play that, or maybe he was thinking more that he wasn't alone with his thoughts, and honestly, of course, I don't know. It could be that the other guys in the band didn't like the Demonarchy side either, but if they didn't, they at least did not show it or tell it.
Yes.
Not to this day, they haven't said that they would have had like really strong negative feelings about the material.
Yeah.
Monstereophonic's main single was Hug You Hardcore, a sexually driven song with an even extremer music video. This music video was divisive amongst fans, with many criticising its approach and graphic content, and it also proved to be taken differently by the band members as well.
During that period of time, you guys obviously released a music video that was very controversial, I would say, even amongst Lordi fans. There was a bit of a mixed reaction to the Hug You Hardcore music video. When that music video was being made and you eventually seen the final product, what was your first reaction to it?
I was probably just as surprised as everybody else. Like when we did the green screen shots for of the band members, even at that point, I had no idea what was the script of the music video.
Right.
So I've seen it from the final product, just like everybody else, and being like, oh, okay, this is what was going on. So, the music video world is quite heavily like Mr. Lordi's world.
Yeah.
And him in cooperation with whoever is the director or whatever. So that is something that I don't remember I would have had a say ever. Right. That's pretty much his field. So whatever, I'm used to him having like pretty crazy ideas, so I wasn't like surprised that something like this came out, but maybe more like thinking that, okay, I don't think this is gonna be taken well, and then the outcome was that it was censored. How do you say? Yeah,
by the record label.
Yeah, even by the record label, okay. That they didn't want to put it in their channel, right. as it is. So
yeah, okay.
It was a brave move that wasn't maybe that good of an idea. Anyway, it's like, I see that when he has an idea, he wants to do his ideas and doesn't want to please anyone. And that's, in my opinion, also the right way to do it.
Yeah, of course.
That you have a vision and you do it. That's how you create art, and you shouldn't too much think how it's going to be taken.
Yeah.
I hope people don't get me wrong, because I'm the guy who wants to save this planet, save this music environment, you know?
Yeah.
But I want to be in the band like Elvis Presley, what he has done. Like, he was dancing and people were like, oh my God, what he's doing, and his pelvis and everything.
Yeah.
And then the Beatles were like, oh my God, those long hair guys. And, there are many ways to do it. And nowadays it's a little bit difficult to say to the audience, like, but sometimes well, listen, is it Blood Red Sandman video? Yeah. So that's like, or It Snows in Hell. Those are like, I'm so happy we did those. Those are like horror stories, and even you know when mommy is dragging a girl to another room, you know what happens there. That might be sexual or something.
Yeah.
You don't. But I think that was like Hug You Hardcore video was like something, and the lyrics and everything was more like
in your face almost.
Yeah, and nothing like, okay, did we run out of ideas? Like now we are so far away that what we wanted this band to be like.
Mana's opinion on the video greatly differed to that of Hella's and Eamon's.
Well, when we started to film it, I didn't know anything about the video, the storyline. The only thing I knew that I was going to play in front of a green screen. There is some story, but I had no clue. So when I saw the video, that was the first time I saw the idea of the video.
Yeah.
Since when it was already done. So that was interesting. But I don't mind when you provoke people and make that kind of videos. I think that's just cool. And if you get some reactions, it's always good.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative. Of course, this is a horror band.
Yeah.
Of course, you need to do something shocking. That's the whole idea. And this is not little kids band, you know.
Yeah.
This is not heavy sorrows or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
and were you surprised by the fans' reaction to it? Because it was sort of mixed reaction by the fans to that video.
Yeah, but I understood that the fans didn't like the idea of playing in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
Because fans were used to see the band in a real setting, you know.
Yeah.
Real props and whatever. So I think this was the first time we did a video with the green screen, and that was the problem. I don't think the hardcore
side of things was,
you know, with the blood and dildo fucking or whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't the problem, you know, but the green screen.
Monstereophonic is an album which is controversial amongst fans, mostly because of the music video, Hug You Hardcore, but also because of the two contrasting styles on Theaterror and Demonarchy. But I would say the most important thing about this album is it is experimental. It plays with the format of Lordi's music and offers something new and refreshing from the band. It is in many ways the beginning of Lordi's second musical evolution, which culminates in Collection, leading onto Lordiversity. But before we conclude our discussion today on Monstereophonic, there's still one question remaining. Which side of the album does Mr. Lordi prefer, Theaterror or Demonarchy?
When you actually look back on that album yourself, then do you prefer Theaterror over Demonarchy, or the other way around, or do you even care between the two?
I do care. I think the more the theater, of course, it is the Lordi album side of that. That is like a half an album of the next Lordi album that would have been. You know, that's the thing. So it's like, is it 5 songs? I don't know.
I think it's 5. Yeah, I think it's 5.
Okay, thank you. So, but I think on that album there are great songs. I mean, great Lordi, classic sounding Lordi songs. There's Let's Go Slaughter Human. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hug You Hardcore is on that one, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's one of my favorites. What else?
Mary is Dead.
Mary is Dead.
Down with the Devil.
That's by the way, Mary is Dead is something that is it is a unique song in a way, because that was written as a trio between me, Eamon, and Mana.
Right.
At Mana Studio. So we sat down, the three of us, and that is the first time, and the only time at the moment actually, that the three of us have sat down and actually started jamming and coming up with ideas. So that is something like that. Okay. So it's a unique song in the Lordi catalog.
Nice. Okay.
And then it's the Down with the Devil. Is it on that one?
That's on that one. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. So So, and then there's
None for One.
Sick Flick.
Sick
None
Flick
for
and
One, yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
And I really like None for One. Me personally, we have never played that, but it's like I really like None for One. That was once again, that song for me was like that is the high point of the album while we were recording it. I mean, that was like this is the song. But once again, as it turns out, nobody is really rooting for None for One, after it got released. And it's one of those songs that is like buried there. Same thing with, I think I told you already about Loud and Loaded on Babes.
Yes,
that is like one of my favorite songs. But it's like, it just one of those songs that they have a destiny to like fall into oblivion somehow, even though that would mean a lot to me personally. And I know that my other bandmates, they will have these kind of songs on the albums too, that this is my fucking favorite, and there's like, oh, it didn't go anywhere, what the hell, and it's of course it's a question of taste and individual taste.
Yeah.
But now when you look at it, you look at the Theaterror side. So out of 5 songs, there's like at least 3 or 4 songs that I think personally that are awesome.
Yeah.
And we still love playing like Hug You Hardcore and He-Man and I mean Down with the Devil is a good song too. I mean, yeah. But when you look at if you're trying to compare it to Demonarchy side,
yeah.
It's kind of impossible to compare it. It's like because they come from a completely different world and completely different view, and a completely different starting point and a completely different writing process. So they are not in the same league at all, and they should not be battling against each other. That they are in. They are in no way playing by the same rules. Those songs on the A side and B side of the album, they are not.
Okay.
So it's hard to compare. But yeah, as songs, I would say the Theaterror is better because it's something that, it's shit that I know how to do, and it's and I know it works. It's glory.
Yeah, exactly.
Demonarchy as a not compilation album, as a conceptual album, I think it's okay. As a conceptual Lordi album, I think it's the best because it's the only one, so far at least. So,
right.
I mean, there is no comparison to Demonarchy. I love those songs and I love the style and I also love the sound. And I'm a big King Diamond fan, so I love it. I like it. I like the style and I like the thing, but. We played on Sexorcism tour. We played. What the hell did we play? We played
Heaven
one song.
Hell on Earth, isn't it? Heaven.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And you could see that whenever we played that song on the tour, you could see in the audience that you see in the first 2 or 3 rows of people, you see half of them like, yeah, fuck yeah, they're playing this song. And the people next to them like, what the fuck? Okay, this is my cue to exit. I'm going to go get a beer and, go to the toilet. So it's like, there you can see and then the rest of the audience is just like confused. They're like, what? What's going on? And depending on their individual musical taste, they would go, okay, I haven't heard this before, but this sounds cool. Or, okay, I haven't heard this before. This is crap. I go and get a beer. Yeah.
MONSTARS of Rock, The Lordi Story is a true metal podcast production. The show is presented, produced and written by Matthew Kessie. Head to True Metal Pod's social channels to keep up to date with the production.